Hi, my name is Nathan Hinkle, and I have been a partner in ministry with White Oak Christian Church for almost 20 years. If you're following along with the White Oak Bible reading plan, we are focusing our time and attention today on Luke chapter 12, verse 35 through chapter 13, verse 5. Here, we're reading about Jesus' warning to his listeners to be found ready, obedient, and faithful for the time when Jesus will return from heaven. Now, I encourage you to read through this whole passage to allow the Holy Spirit to speak to you. But today, I'm going to focus on chapter 12, verse 49 through 53. I'll be reading from the New International Version of the Bible, starting in verse 49. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and what constraint I am under until it is completed. Do you think I have come to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. So what is this passage saying? I wanted to talk about this portion because it seems the most potentially confusing. Jesus tells us that fire and divisions are marks of his ministry. Is he really saying that he's looking forward to bring fire on earth? Though we know him as the Prince of Peace, here he says that he has not come to bring peace. He tells us that his coming will cause divisions between the closest of family relationships. So what does this passage mean? When Jesus talks about fire in this passage, he's talking about a purifying fire that will cleanse Israel and the world. And that's why he came, to take away the power of sin and to set everything right again. He shares that he wishes that this purification had already taken place, but he knows that he must go to the cross, which he describes as his baptism, in order to bring about the cleansing of sin. When he talks about not bringing peace and causing divisions, he's talking about our readiness to receive him. Jesus' coming will not cause things to be comfortable. It will cause disruption in our lives. His truth and his call to discipleship flies in the face of culture and comfort. Of course, Jesus doesn't want to cause destruction to human relationships, but he does warn us that if we're going to put our trust in him, that we should be ready to experience divisions with others who may or may not be believers. Our relationship with Jesus should be our top relational priority. So what does this tell me about God? This passage tells me that God is jealous for our affections. He demands that he comes first in our lives. He tells me that the life of a disciple won't be easy. But this passage also tells me that his purifying fire and his death on the cross will bring about my righteousness. God's love and Jesus' work on the cross is enough to forgive all my sin and to empower me to live the life he's called me to live. So what does this passage tell me about people? This passage reminds me that other people, even those I love the most, will sometimes come between me and my relationship with God. Though my close family or friends may or may not be hostile towards my faith, I can still, if I'm not wise, allow relationships to take priority over my walk with Jesus. Jesus has to come first in all things. So how should I live my life based on what I've read today? I feel this passage asks me to check my level of comfort versus discomfort when it comes to my faith. Am I taking the path of least resistance, or am I trusting God in the challenges that push me to trust him more? If my time with him and my obedience to him is growing, then I believe my relationship with my parents or my wife or my kids will benefit as well. It may not make things easier. In fact, it won't make things easier, but it will bring honor to God and maybe even point my family and friends toward him in the way I live my life. So here's one question I want to leave with you today. Where in your faith walk have you been pursuing the path of least resistance? Where might God be calling you into something challenging and even difficult in order to further purify your heart and draw you closer to His?